Tell me when you're ready.
Yep. All right, we got Coach Archie Miller. Go right ahead, Coach.
I'm proud of our team. I think at this time of year you have to be able to find different ways to win, and you're battling a lot of different things, at this time of year. I felt like our crowd, even though with the weather turning so bad again, gave us a boost in there today. It was great Saturday afternoon, game for our guys. And, I don't think we played perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought from a game plan perspective, our guys took to heart the physicality that we wanted to play with on offense. And I thought, shooting 42 free throws wasn't a mistake in terms of the way we tried to play. But 11 turnovers was probably the biggest thing that we were able to do today because, I didn't think defensively we were very good. I didn't think that we had the energy at the jump ball. And that's part of what you deal with at this time of year is just sometimes you're running out of gas, you're running out of legs. And we just didn't have that pop that we needed. But we found some grit. We found enough deflections, enough stops to be able to, I thought, get out in transition a lot. And that was a big thing in the second half was our ability to get to the transition, get to the line. But we had some really poor performances defensively, individually. We had some real coverage breakdowns at bad times. And being able to overcome that, was good, from our standpoint. We were able to get some key offensive rebounds. The free throw line was great. And then only turning it over 11 times. That was kind of the recipe that we needed today. So, but like I told the guys after the game, at this time of year, it's just chalk it up. Did you get it or didn't you? You're not looking for style points. You're looking for results, and we got the result that we wanted.
Questions?
Archie, since you mentioned about the free throws, 34 for 42 today. Why do you think you guys were so efficient at being able to make those free throws, and why do you think you were successful at drawing them a lot throughout the game?
I think drawing them was, obviously the ability to play in transition off defense to offense, and in some cases, if it wasn't even defense to offense, off makes. We were trying to push the pace a little bit today. We felt like transition was going to be our best way of being able to draw fouls, get early offense. So the pace was good. I also think our defense, we had 9 steals. Our points off turnovers was 18. So we were able to create some pace with our defense at times, even when we weren't good. Deflections led to steals, leads to offense. So the foul line is a mystery. It always is. We were absolutely brutal at the line last Sunday. We were 9 for 18. The game before that at Dayton, we were good. I think coming in here today at home, having a number of guys shoot a lot of them, to me, getting them in a rhythm was good. But overall, I think just the free throw line and stepping up with confidence and making them, credit to our guys, especially at the end there when it, it's 3-point game, 2-point game, being able to make it a 2-possession game, being able to ice it from the line was really good. Tyler obviously was big time offensively for us today, but I didn't think Tyler was big time for us on the other end of the floor today. But he certainly came through in a big way on offense.
Coach, you mentioned earlier in the year that you're presenting Kean with almost an impossible task. 7-man rotation today. How would you assess Alex's level of play?
I told Alex after the game that, like, in our biggest wins, he's been one of the key contributors in those games. Whether it was Mason at home, whether it was at Dayton in the second half in particular, or today. He gets caught up, I think, in trying to obviously make an imprint on the game on offense like all players do. They hope to score a basket, make a shot. And then, he sort of has struggled to get going that way. But what we've found with him is he's intelligent. He really is our second best post defender. And moving him when Kean's not in the game to defend another big has really been good for us. And I thought today his minutes were a positive. He was plus 12 in the game today, and he didn't score. So in those minutes that he's in, clearly there's a translation of us playing good basketball. I think part of it is he's been becoming a better post defender, and he's giving us the ability level to rest Kean a little bit and defend the 5 more comfortably. Jameer has been bounced back and forth with that role a little bit. He just has too much on his plate right now. Jameer can't handle it all. So I think keeping him a little bit more simple on defense and asking Alex to do a little bit more in that, big role, defend the post, defend the ball screens, whatever it may be. Key had, I thought, some key plays in the game today, whether it was a block or whether it was a couple key post-ups. But he didn't have his normal fast twitch today, I didn't think, in terms of his effort level, energy level, his attention to detail. If you watch us play Richmond in game 1, I don't know if I've ever seen a front court player move as fast as he moved in the course of that game defensively on the ball. But when you play these guys, I mean, you're dealing with, 7 to 10 passes a possession. You're dealing with, 5 to 6 different ways they're attacking your coverage. And for the most part, Key answers the bell for us. But Alex has really come on in the last 2 to 3 weeks to help us keep some consistency there. And like I told him, he can play career best basketball and play winning basketball for us in meaningful minutes without scoring a basket. I know he doesn't want to hear that, but if he focuses on that, he'll score more baskets. That's usually how it works.
Archie, how important was your team's 7-0 run in that first half, only down one, 11-6?
Very important back 8 minutes. We had a stretch there where we really struggled to score. I think we were up 12-4, and then I think they went on maybe a 19-4 run themselves over the course of about 8. But I thought the back 8 minutes, some really key plays, and I thought one decision for us late in the half that worked out in our benefit was sitting Kean. Defensively, they were going to play patrol under the rim with a 5, and basically you're going to end up having to play 4 on 5. And I thought when we subbed Alex in the first half, the second time, Jameer had an imprint in the game. Keeping more 5 perimeter players in the game helped our offense. We were able to get some baskets in transition, and then we didn't cave in on defense when Kean went out, which is another reason why Alex played a big role in this game. Maybe not stat sheet-wise you're looking at it, but over the course of the game when we needed to win, that lineup really helped us, especially at the first half.
Archie, you said that you were sort of disappointed with your team's defensive effort, and there's definitely times throughout the game where it's apparent why, but you guys did force Richmond to have more turnovers than they do on average this season. What did work well for you guys defensively today?
Well, we're a team, obviously, that we are in sync and flying around. Our quickness, we can get deflections. Deflecting passes, making passes hard. And I thought we did a decent job of that. We probably had a half a dozen balls that were whizzed that we tipped that kind of led to a steal and went the other way. So I think deflection-wise and being active with our quickness, they're very difficult to guard, obviously. Chris is one of the best coaches in the country, and Walls presents a lot of problems when he's shooting the ball the way he shot the ball. But, for us, we're not going to change who we are depending on the team. When we do that, we usually don't play well. We have to be ourselves. I thought uncharacteristically in this game, we were really soft in our exchanges, meaning whether it was a handoff, whether it was throw and go and you go under, we weren't getting back up. We were literally going under and just, if they missed it, they missed it. If they made it, they made it. But we weren't dictating that enough in this game. I thought we were better at that the first time we played them. And they can really shoot. I mean, they can. I mean, that's one of the things they really do well. I thought late in the game, especially when it was situational basketball, we did a really poor job of giving them a 2 versus giving them a 3. We gave up back-to-back threes late, off of just, reckless running at the ball or reckless running at the post, when at the end of the day, we didn't need to give up threes, make them shoot a tough 2, so to speak. So there were some breakdowns there in smarts, and we got to get better at that. But all in all, I'm happy for our guys because it was a long week. It really was. And, I thought maybe at the end of the day, with where we're at, played 7 today. We really cut the rotation. Guys are logging a lot of minutes. And I think we need to really, really research over the next 48 hours or so on how to be as fresh as we can next time we take the floor on the road Tuesday.
Coach, any update on
Mo Sal?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done. Mo won't play again the rest of the season. We're past the point of the threshold where he's going to be able to impact our team. And not a lot of people know how big that was for us to lose him, all year. He was a very, very important piece to what we're doing. But his inability to get back off of the procedure, to be able to practice comfortably, hasn't been there, and I don't see where he'll join us again this season.
Coach, you talked earlier in the year about trying to see more of Miles and RJ on the floor together. Obviously, you're down Jonah right now, but those two guys played nearly the entire game. Just talk about the confidence that you have in those two on the floor together. What you've seen that gives you the trust to play them for nearly the
Both of
entire
them are very, very quick. And even in this game, regardless of what our matchups were, what was going on, both of them did an outstanding job on their coverage. They're super quick. And I think defensively they can really be sticky and do the job there. I think we're learning how to play with the two of them on offense a little bit more. And I've always said Miles in transition without the ball is probably as good of a thing as we can have going for us as it is with him with the ball. And RJ's very comfortable playing long minutes with the ball in his hands and orchestrating our team. So we're very comfortable, and just by sheer circumstances, I think they've probably played, the back 12 minutes of George Mason, the entire Dayton game, the entire Duquesne game, and now the entire Richmond game together. And they've done a pretty much as solid as you can do in terms of playing the entire game with what we ask them to do.
Coach, back on the injuries, any update on Jonah Hinton?
No, he's been yet to return to practice. He's done some individual work. He's done some non-contact work in practice, but he's very reluctant right now in terms of being comfortable, being able to be himself. So we'll see as we keep moving on. He's got to re-engage at some point in time in the practice setting to feel good in games. He doesn't feel that right now he's ready to do that. And, bone bruises, like I've said before, can be really, really tricky. They can actually be worse than sprained ankles or even breaks at times. They just linger and they don't last. And, what we're missing with Jonah as much as anything, and I know he's our leading scorer, but, man, I can't tell you how trusted he is on defense. When you add him to the equation defensively to what we do, man, you got almost a cover cornerback, out there that you don't worry about a whole lot throughout the course of the game. And he's a great two-way player. And, guys are going to have to step up like Harp and DK when he gets his opportunities, and these other guys that are playing more minutes have to step up. But we're definitely not the same team without Jonah. And I know a lot of people are going to focus in on the shot making or the leading scoring or whatever it may be. I actually think at the end of the day, defensively is where it's really, really hard for us at times to make it through without that ace out there at times that you can stick on a guy, and at the end of the day, he's going to do a great job. And I think you saw that a little bit in this game. I thought Tyler and Jameer struggled at times on defense. I didn't like the matchup late in the game with Lopez on all of his isolations. We had a smaller guard on him, and he started to play a little bigger going to the basket. That's sort of where Jonah can come into play for us because he can do both. But my hope is each day he gets a little better, and my hope is that each day he re-engages with more activity, and at some point in time, hopefully he returns to our lineup.
So the short bench will continue? Just don't have
Unless
to
you
play.
got some guys I can borrow, or unless we can go and get a G League guy, or I'm not real sure how it works, but
I hear they let the NBA players play golf now.
yeah, just I don't necessarily think we can go shopping. You know what I mean? So the big thing for us is short lineup. Sometimes at the end of the day, if you're smart with your guys and you're only playing like 7, 7.5, 8, they get better because of the experience that they play together, and hopefully we'll get a little bang out of our buck with a cohesive group that's used to playing with one another here a lot of minutes.
Coach, just to build off that, 4 different players in double figures today without Jonah. How does that affect the depth? It's just knowing that multiple people can step up, and you take someone like RJ who didn't score at a high level today, but obviously Tyler, and then Tripp, Miles, Itijere. Just speak to the depth and how that next man up mentality, and it can really just be anyone's day in terms of offensive production.
Yeah, I don't think that at the end of the day, a lot of our offense and a lot of things we do or have done are out of the equation right now. Jonah creates a lot of offense for us because their attention to detail on him not getting shots. He can be a screener, he can be a cutter, transition. But I think these other guys all have a lot of experience. And I think when you don't come out of the game as a player, you play with great freedom. That's part of what shrinking your bench does for guys like Miles or Tripp. I think you're seeing that with Tripp a little bit right now. I think you're seeing that with Tyler here in the last few weeks. They're playing with great confidence and freedom that they're not coming out right now. So guys have done it a lot of different ways, playing deep benches. I've played short benches. The one thing I do know is usually when you play a really short bench, those guys, they develop a lot of chemistry and confidence.
Archie, your team's won 4 of their last 5 games. Outside of keeping guys fresh, keeping them healthy, how do you guys build upon this success?
Yeah, I think the big thing is just keep staying in neutral. You know what I mean? Like, don't get too high, don't get too low. It's one at a time. We've done a really good job with that all year long. We've felt adversity. We've dealt with adversity. We're dealing with more adversity as we continue to trudge forward. Bodies in practice, fatigue, different things creep up. But I do think the one thing is we have a group that shows up every day ready. They try really, really hard to do what we ask them to do. And the character level and just the ability to coach basketball and not deal with anything else has been the best thing about this group. And usually that overcomes. You overcome a lot of things when you're together and you're about the right things and you just keep staying with it. So, for us, like I said, we got off to a little bit of a slow January. It wasn't fun, but we didn't panic and pout and point. And I think that you win a few games, you can't do the same thing on the other end, which is let's go sky high right now and go away from what we do. We just have to keep doing what we do one day at a time, take one game at a time. From this point forward, it's going to be a blur. We're going to be on Tuesday night just like that. So we got to get ready to go and keep processing it just in terms of giving ourselves the best chance. This team is a good group, and our commitment level to making sure that they finish as strong as they can is the only thing that's really on our minds right now.
All right, folks.
Thank you.